I'm Dean. I'm the dad.
I'm Laura. I'm the mom.
And I'm Krista. I'm the daughter.
And together we are Family Plot. See, no complaints this time about me not being into it. Well, welcome to the show, listeners. Thanks for listening to us, as always. A couple of things. If you want to support the show, Patreon's a good way to do that. $1, $3, $5, and $10 donations. And let me tell you, we need them. However,
yes, we do.
However, if you can't do a monthly donation, I don't hold that against you. None of us do. You can always go to Buy Me a Coffee, where you can do a one-time donation, and those are really any amount. And again, we need them, but it's up to you. And if you can't do that, we ask, if you enjoy the show, you share it on social media. If not, keep it to yourself. That one didn't go off as well as I hoped, but they got the point.
Well, I was trying to help. You just.
I was also trying to help.
Raring to go tonight, dear. Yeah, one might say that you've been
trying to go into the Red Claw. Come on.
Or you might have been shot with Cupid's arrow.
We'll talk about him. See, this week we look into the legend, the Catholic history of Saint Valentine, which isn't nearly as cool as Saint Nicholas. No prostitutes involved, unfortunately.
Well,
unfortunately, it's PG-13.
It depends on who you're loving on Valentine's Day. We don't judge.
No, we don't judge, nor do we kink shame much. We also look at the origin of Cupid, and we include some strange stories about love in this incredibly special love episode of the Family Plot Podcast. But first,
it's that time again.
Krysta's got facts. Yay! There we go.
Good job, dear.
Okay, so, hi.
Hi.
Welcome back to the Fact Corner.
Sometimes I feel like I never leave the fact corner. You're like my own little Wondrium. You know, they advertise on our podcast.
Do they?
Yeah.
Cool.
Disrespectful.
Is it, though?
Yes, very disrespectful. Not like
Oh, it wasn't letting you move. Yeah, I could see how you might say that.
I thought you were talking about Wondrium. I'm like, they're not disrespectful, I don't think.
No, they're not disrespectful. I was talking about the point. Anyway, I figured since today we were talking about Valentine's Day, I'd throw in a little bit of mythical creatures. So today we have facts about mythical creatures.
Yay, mythical creatures.
Today's facts are from listverse.com, so...
Thank you, Listverse.
Thank you, Listverse.
And these facts are by Estelle. I don't know, but it's pretty neat.
It means star, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Is that like...
No, in French, star is étoile.
Ooh, that's pretty...
Yeah.
I'm going to name a D&D character after that.
But Estelle, I think, is Belgian, maybe? Or... wait, they speak French in Belgium. I don't know. But it's like Latin, maybe?
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyways, fact number 1.
Okay.
Leprechauns are a protected species.
What?
Yeah, they are.
Leprechaun, otherwise known as tiny bearded man dressed in green and in possession of a pot of gold that is hidden at the end of the rainbow. These solitary creatures are said to be fond of making shoes and playing tricks on humans.
Sure. Like you do.
While they are prominently featured in Irish folklore and are thought to live in a colony in Ireland, there is also an official colony in Portland, Oregon.
Who knew?
I kind of did.
Oh, well.
But I only know because I read about it when I was putting together a campaign for Changeling the Dreaming
Okay.
many moons ago.
Columnist Dick Fagan sought to beautify a very small concrete median that had previously housed a lamppost. So he planted some flowers in the dirt.
So he planted some flowers in the dirt.
In the street in front of his office in Portland in 1948.
Cool.
He named it Mill Inns. After his column to spread the word about his unofficial quote-unquote park, he claimed he had seen a leprechaun rooting around in the flowers one day. So he ran outside to catch and caught the leprechaun.
Wow.
Who then granted him a wish. Fagin wished for a new park, and the leprechaun gave him the flowery spot he had been caught in. Mill Inns Park was officially dedicated on March 17, 1948, and subsequently became known as the largest leprechaun colony outside of Ireland.
Wow. How about that?
Leprechauns are also protected under European Union law and have been since 2009.
Well,
The law aims to preserve an area in Laos. I don't know how to say that.
Spell it.
Sliavh.
Slia.
What?
Slia.
Slia?
Yeah.
Never heard of that, but thank you.
Foy?
Boy.
I was making sure that it was said that way because I messed it up.
You did better than me, babe.
The Slia Foy Loop. For flora, fauna, and leprechaun. Those who lobbied for this law claim that there are only 236 leprechauns left in Ireland, and that they are all living in the Louth area.
I see.
Yeah, the Irish Parliament passed an act to protect them as well. So yeah, it's they're a protected species.
I feel like didn't we talk about leprechauns previously and maybe discussed a little bit of this also? I feel like that might have been another episode, or am I dreaming?
Possibly, but I don't remember if we did.
Okay.
I'm just amazed that Krysta found this fact, and I love it.
All right.
Because, like she said, the park was dedicated to the one I love, which is you, baby.
Aw, thank you, honey.
I love you too, Krysta.
Yeah, I love you too.
Okay, so you got another fact for us?
Well, yeah, I don't stop at just one fact, Mom.
Well, I know, but that was a really detailed, impressive fact. I was just making sure.
All right, so sorry about that.
No, you're good. So, second fact, right?
Yeah, the legend of Amaranth is what this one is.
You're fine. You're good.
The Legend of Amarok is what this one is called. Inuit mythology tells the tale of a giant wolf, or Amarok, that devours any person who hunts alone at night. Several stories feature the Amarok, including one that tells of a boy who to the Lord of Strength, who increased his own physical strength. An Amarok appeared out of nowhere and struck the boy to the ground with his tail. As the boy fell, several small bones fell around him.
Ouch!
Stunned, the boy realized that the bones came from his own body.
Yeah, I'd say that would be stunning.
I'd say that'd be painful.
It does sound painful. That's why I said ouch.
The Amarok told the boy that these small bones were preventing his growth and ordered him to return every day to learn how to fight. After a few days, the boy had enough strength to overpower 3 larger bears.
Wow.
The Inuit people revere the wolf and see its existence and hunting abilities as a boost in their ongoing quest for food.
Yeah, I would say so. If it can knock bones out of your body and teach you how to fight bears.
You'd think so.
Sure sounds like it.
I'll fight a bear.
Dad, you would fall over.
I'll teach you how to fight, Krysta. So you can defend yourself. You can tell people, put 'em up, put 'em up.
Blue says that's not a good thing to do.
It's not.
Blue says I could use my smart instead.
When did Blue get so smart?
Blue doesn't fight, Dimmick does. Anyway. Where was I?
The end of fact number 2, I think.
Yes.
They also believe the wolf to be essential in maintaining big game populations.
And it kind of is, but so is human hunting, it's meant to control populations. It's why there's only certain times you can do it and only so many deer you can take or whatever.
No, it took me way too long to figure out that you meant humans being allowed to hunt and not humans being hunted.
Oh, well, I think we should hunt stupid people, but I don't want to go into that in the podcast. People would think I'm crazy.
Well,
Dad, the fact that you even just said that might drive people off.
I'm sorry. I don't mean it.
much.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's the issue. Oh my god. Anyway.
Hey, there might be. I'm all for everybody getting a fair trial, but I don't necessarily disagree with your father that there might be some people in the world, especially people who hurt small innocent children, who deserve to be hunted down and shot like dogs in the street. And sorry to any dogs that I may have offended with that statement, because
I don't think dogs are listening to the podcast.
well, you never know.
Yeah, I was going to say, you never know. I mean, the crazy cat lady on TikTok, her cats might listen.
Okay, she is not a crazy cat lady.
She's a normal cat lady,
She's
but,
just a cat lady with, really funny cats.
Really funny, crazy cat.
I like the Southern cat mom. I don't know what you're concerned about. She's very funny.
The crazy Southern cat lady? That's because she's a crazy Southern cat lady.
Okay, can we continue with this fact, please?
Oh, hey, you have more facts. Go ahead,
I do
Krysta.
have more facts, but if we're not going to get over this one, then we're never going to get there.
Oh.
I like the Inuit people. They used to call them Eskimos, but that was.
Don't you make that joke.
That was very bad.
Don't you make that. That's not a good joke.
That isn't a good joke. Don't make that joke, Dad.
I wasn't going to make the joke. It was originally written by Scott Adams, and that guy has become a poop. He's become a poop.
I see.
Okay. Those who want their children to grow up and be good hunters place an anklet made of a wolf's feet and lower leg muscle fibers around the infant's ankle. This would ensure that when the child is old enough to start hunting, he would be blessed with the speed and endurance of a wolf.
Or he'd be used to wearing a bracelet on his ankle, which isn't considered a good thing. I've never heard of someone with an ankle bracelet that's been like, oh, look, it's so cool. And it keeps track of where I am at all times.
Different kind of ankle, babe.
Are you talking about home arresting?
Yes.
Yes. That's what I was talking
You're
about.
crazy!
The ankle monitor. Yep, that's exactly what he's talking about.
I don't think anybody wants that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. You don't want that.
Not
Why?
really.
Oh, no, there are people who want it. Like Scott, what's his name from Modesto? Guarantee you he would like to have an ankle bracelet.
Yeah.
You know, there are some people that are just insane, and he is one of those.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, there's people in prison who, if you said, we're going to send you home with an ankle bracelet,
They'd be like, yes, please. I'll take two.
they would be very happy with that.
They'd be better with it at home rather than where they work.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
That's what your dad is saying. Exactly.
I mean, at least you can make some chicken sandwiches at home. You can't eat that crap and put it in prison.
True enough.
Mostly you can't. Although I guess at some prisons, the commissary will sell little microwaves, and then you can also buy stuff to make in the microwave.
Okay.
Yeah, still gross stuff.
Yeah, no, it's not top shelf nothing, but that's what I get for watching years and years of what was that? Behind Bars or that?
I don't know.
It was a series. It was Behind Bars or Behind Locked
Life
Gates.
on the Inside or whatever.
Yeah.
Some stuff like that.
Yeah. It was a good show to fall asleep to because nothing interesting really happened in it. But there's a lot of stuff I randomly remember, like an inmate. I
feel like it would give me nightmares, but, you know.
Well, there's a lot of stuff I randomly remember, like an inmate that's in for life makes banjos out of radios and cigar boxes.
Miniature banjo?
No, well, playable banjos because.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, don't we still have facts? Nah, I decided not to do those.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
No. When do I ever do that?
I don't know. I was confused.
I'm always confused.
Good, I'm your kid.
Yes, you are, and I'm very proud of you.
Yep. There's documentation to prove that.
Yet you're still confused. So, like...
I brag about you all the time.
Woohoo!
Everyone who will listen.
Pretty much.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you didn't talk to people.
I talk to some people, and those people, I brag about you all the time. I bragged about you to Cheryl. I like Cheryl. And Darren. I feel bad about what he might be going through, which I don't want to talk about on the podcast, but yeah, I like them both.
Yeah, we don't disclose that information here.
We are not disclosers.
We don't disclose information that isn't ours.
That's right. But we do disclose facts, and I believe we are on fact number 3.
Okay. Fact number 3. Mermaid tears.
Mermaid tears?
Yes. mermaids were originally considered to be half woman, half bird, but the bird part was exchanged for half fish after a dispute with the Muses.
Muses. Yes.
Images of mermaids were painted during the Stone Age around 30,000 years ago.
Wow.
Over the centuries, they became associated with misfortune and death, especially for sailors who braved the open sea. Those who wanted extra protection would carry an aquamarine gemstone, as it was said that the aquamarine is from mermaid tears and would protect seamen during voyages.
Awesome. And can I just say how very, very proud I am of you for taking your time and enunciating that very well.
Yeah, because otherwise it would sound like the episode. Right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm very proud of you. Quite impressed.
Also, mermaids were at one point half woman, half bird, and then they became half woman, half fish. And then sirens also somehow got put in that category. And I don't think sirens were supposed to be half fish at all, but almost every time you see them in a movie like Jason and the Argonauts, they're mermaids with these voices that you can't get away from. No. Yeah.
All right, then.
Yeah, I mean, that seems quite normal to me, though.
Sure.
Because, like, people like changing things up a lot, especially within these newer generations. People are just willing to believe whatever because they didn't know anything about it before, so why not deal with it now, right?
Sure.
Exactly.
Continuing with this fact, one of the earliest mermaid legends was born in
Syria.
Syria? Yeah, okay. Sorry if I butchered that.
You're fine.
But
You're fine. It's in the news right now, so this is topical.
And centered around the fertility goddess, Articus?
Spell it. Spell it. I might be able to help you if I know how it's spelled.
It looks like a Targetus.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Atargatis.
Sounds like you're hitting it on the head. That's what I'd say.
A Targetus, often depicted in mermaid form. A Targetus is considered by many to be the original mermaid. During medieval times, the hundreds of accounts of mermaid sightings resulted in the existence of mermaids being accepted as fact for many people.
Right.
Yeah, and they think those sightings were actually like manatees and walrus. I guess that's what you call multiple walruses.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Good.
Walruses, whatever. But yeah, they and seals and whatnot is that they would see them from a distance and for some reason think they were mermaids.
And see, like we've talked about this in other episodes before, but I'm going to talk about this right now because I feel like they're my facts and I get to speak on my podcast.
Sounds good.
But I feel like mermaids are real. We just haven't seen them because I feel like they're at a lower level of the ocean.
Makes sense to me.
Hey, Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah believe in mermaids.
I mean, why not believe in mermaids? What's the big deal, my guy?
And John Candy believed in mermaids.
Sure.
Haven't you ever seen Splash?
Yes,
Mermaids,
I have seen Splash.
Let's pee down his air hose.
No.
It's my favorite line in that movie.
That sounds awful.
It's a good movie.
It is. It's a very good movie.
It's old, and now you would would probably watch it and go, geez, these special effects are so cheesy, but it was a very cute movie.
Yeah, and there's a scientist in the movie that's always trying to find mermaids, and he's hired 2 dim-witted apprentices to help him, and he's always yelling at them because they're dim-witted. And after he goes down to look for mermaids again, one of them turns the other and says, let's pee down his arrows. And I don't know why, but that amuses me beyond mirth.
Mirth. I've heard of that word before, but I don't know what it means.
Laughter, amusement, joy.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay, fact number 4. And then we're doing 2 more after this, because I'm feeling
Facty
today.
Sounds good. Let's go.
Okay. The superpowers of the Phoenix.
Woohoo!
According to legend, only one Phoenix lived at a time. And each year one lived for 500 years. As a phoenix's time drew near, it would build a nest and set itself on fire. Before long, a new phoenix would rise from the ashes in its place. The Greeks and Egyptians saw the phoenix as a symbol of the sun, with one myth saying that Apollo would stop both the sun and his chariot to listen to the magnificent bird song, dawn song.
You know what's great about that fact?
Well, I'm still on the fact. What?
Okay, but I just wanted to point out what's great about that fact is that it actually incorporates several members of our family's name, because Lexi is named Madeline after Madeline Breyer, who was part of the Dark Phoenix saga in Marvel's X-Men. And we have a cat named Apollo.
Yeah. Listen, the bird's dawn song, that is literally Apollo with chicken.
That's absolute. Sounds about right.
Damn it! I mean, Apollo, you just wanted to hear a phoenix this whole time? Yeah, he's ignoring me.
Yeah, he wants to eat a phoenix because he heard they taste like chicken.
I'd like to go to Phoenix. Yeah, I had fun there the last time I was there.
I was born
Not
there.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, but I was born there.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to take you there sometime. Anyway, when I'm older.
She really wants to take me out. Earlier she was talking about taking me to eat a black bear and taking me to Build-A-Bear and making me a trinket.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I wanted to take her to Build-A-Bear so she could get a brown bear and name it Trinket. And
a brown bear with pink bows and name it Trinket.
yeah, and then I wanted to take her to Black Bear's Diner with Trinket so she'd be able to see his cousin.
Yeah, except you've got to put armor on Trinket. Trinket is an armored bear.
That's okay. I would make him some armor.
Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. She can do that.
I only know that Trinket is an armored bear because while I was looking for her Valentine's Day present, which she already has, because in this house, she doesn't wait well for presents and I don't wait well to give them. I want to see the look on her face. And I got her Percy, and a collectible figure of Percy, who's voiced by Liam O'Brien.
No. Percy is Taliesin Jaffe.
Taliesin Jaffe, sorry. From Critical Role, because he was the only one of those collectible figures I could afford. But I was originally looking for Trinket, and Trinket is apparently armored because everything that I've seen with his picture, he's wearing like this weird steel cap and like a breastplate.
Well, yeah, because he's always going into battle with Vox Machina, so he needs armor.
Listen, he is a good bear and I love him.
He's such a good bear.
I wasn't saying he's a bad bear. I mean, come on.
He's an expensive bear. But
They turned him into a human so he could, eat, join an eating contest, which didn't work out well for him.
You gotta tell me.
Wait, what? They turned Trinket into a human?
They did, so he could be in a pie eating contest, and him gotta tell me.
Oh no, poor Trinket!
I know, it was so sad.
Well, the first two pies were berry pies.
Oh, spoiler alerts for anyone who hasn't watched it or listened to it.
But the third pie was a meat pie. And yeah, meat on top of berries, savory on top of sweet in the stomach doesn't always do well, especially when you've crammed 2 whole pies down and you're trying to eat a third.
Poor Trinket got a tummy ache.
No.
It was so sad.
Poor Trinket, baby. Anyways, continuing on with my facts so we can move on to the actual podcast, because this is turning into Crystalline's podcast.
Well, that's not a bad thing necessarily, but yes, go ahead.
The bird also symbolized renewal and rebirth. And because it once lived in paradise, it never truly died. The phoenix was also believed to have several powers and abilities, including an incinerating touch that could render a human to ashes in mere seconds. They were super fast with incredible strength as well as teleportation and shape-shifting ability. Some believe that one phoenix still inhabits the Earth at any given time, awaiting its inevitable death in Earth.
Interesting.
See, I have a theory about them. When they are reborn, things may get better. But when it's time comes for death, everything for humans goes to rest. And then it goes on.
That's a very Chinese kind of philosophy. Is like we live in a cycle and it goes from birth to death. And the phoenix is the representation of that cycle, which is why it always recreates itself.
Yeah. That's my sort of take on it.
Cool.
Krysta, you've got some Chinese
ideas going on.
Yeah, Chinese philosophies. I like it. You didn't even know you had them.
Yeah, no, I didn't. And, I wouldn't necessarily say that per se. But I do think that it is something that has to do with that. Because, if you think about it, there have been times of very good things, and whenever you look at dates and stuff, you might see that good things happen for maybe 300 years, and the next 200 years there are terrible things that happen, or mediocre things that happen. Anyways, I am going to move on.
Okay.
Fact number 5. Unicorn prevents a war. The unicorn is one of the most beloved mythical creatures in the world.
Well, yeah.
They are usually portrayed with shining white fur and a multicolored horn and mane. The legendary creature is believed to possess magical abilities, and ancient cultures described it as a real animal. It was even included in natural history books at one point. Since the early days of the church, the unicorn has also been adopted as a symbol of Christ and his invincible strength. Legend legend has it that a unicorn was instrumental in. I don't know how to say it. Sorry. Genghis. Genghis Khan's decision not to conquer India.
Mm.
Khan was on his way with his army when he came across a unicorn. The unicorn bowed down to him, and Khan saw this as a message from his deceased father, and decided to turn his army back.
Oh, that's interesting, I guess.
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Yeah, it's just a little interesting. Yeah, something.
Like, okay, this stopped a war, but how?
Because
I don't know. Maybe his deceased father's life beautiful.
Well, usually the like spirit animals was kind of a thing with them, so his father may have used the unicorn for a spirit animal or claimed the unicorn. So seeing one bow down to him, even if it was in a dream, would be very portentous to him. It'd be his dad talking to him.
Okay.
That's fair, I guess. But we're moving on to the sixth fact.
Okay.
Okay.
Our sixth and final fact.
Okay.
The mystery of dragons. Now,
Ah.
this one is going to contain some information that we have not disclosed, because I will not be disclosing the facts before this. Yeah, again, if you want to look at this, it's listverse.com, or you can just search up facts about mythical creatures. This will pop up. Much like Boogeyman, it is unclear where exactly the legend of dragons first emerged. What is known is that they had been described as early as times of Greece.
Wow.
I love dragons.
Me too.
I love dragons so much.
Me too. I even make some.
You make dragons? Oh, yeah, resin dragons.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered that. But what I want to do is I want to learn how to, like, mechanically, or make robots or something.
Cool.
Which would take a while, but I want to learn how to do it. And I want to make a mechanical dragon.
That would be fun. Expensive, probably, but fun.
It'd be less expensive than buying one, probably.
I don't know.
Or we could go to Iowa, where they have a medieval golf course with a dragon, owned by the same people that own the Jurassic Putt place up here.
Aw, honey, have you been doing research?
Yeah. I looked at their website.
Cool.
But anyway, they have a mechanical dragon that you have to putt through or around or something.
Neat.
I want to make my own mechanical dragon still.
I was just saying someone has one.
And that's good, and I'm glad, and I'm like, yeah. But I want a mechanical dragon.
Okay. Well, it's good to have goals.
Yeah. Anyway,
Wow. Those were awesome facts tonight,
okay,
Krysta.
they're not done. We're not done. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It seemed like I was done, apparently.
Yeah, well, I just got confused. Go ahead.
For thousands of years, people had no idea what the massive fossils meant that were occasionally being discovered around the world. Therefore, a connection was made to dragons instead of dinosaurs. Now, we have done an episode of this, and for people who have been listening, like, previous to this is gonna sound like similar information to you.
Also, we apologize. We all have contracted a terrible and icky cold.
I blame Blue.
That sounds good to me.
I blame no one. I blame myself. Myself and myself only, god darn it.
Okay.
I still blame Blue.
Dragons were soon seen as villains that needed to be slain by brave fighters.
Mm.
And they were cast in the role of Satan by the Christian church.
Oh. Seems a little excessive.
I agree. The fire-breathing mouth of a dragon was also believed to be the entrance to hell.
Well, you know.
I mean, if I'm going anywhere, I'm going in the dragon's stomach, I guess.
Yeah.
Medieval folklore included the tale of Saint Margaret of Antioch.
Of Antioch.
I'm sorry. I believe you're fine. Who was thrown in prison for her Christian beliefs. But legend has it that a dragon was lurking in the prison cell, and as soon as she entered it, the dragon's walls were full. God gave Saint Margaret the power to burst through the dragon's stomach, which led to her survival in the dragon's death. Saint Margaret eventually became the patron saint of childbirth.
Cool.
So in this episode, we're covering two saints.
Yeah.
I guess so. But poor dragon.
Yeah, kind of. But I don't see that as a real dragon. There was a time during the Dark Ages where the church kind of took over everything and assigned their own meaning to it. And I'm not necessarily a fan of that sort of cultural appropriation. You know, it's one thing if your kid likes, say, Japanese tea ceremonies and wants to dress up and have a little tea ceremony. That's okay in my book because the Japanese love to share their culture, so they would be fine with it. But yeah, when you're taking a pagan symbol and turning it into the devil because, well, you're the church, I just feel like, that's not cool.
You're turning a complete mythical creature that was made even before you knew what it was. You, legitimately just turned it into something completely different that was supposed to be, quote-unquote, safe.
And when the Greeks discovered fossils, it was new to them. They didn't understand them, which is why they think that Cyclops existed, because there was an island where there was all these mammoth skulls. Well, mammoths have this massive sinus cavity where their trunk is, so the Greeks thought it was a one-eyed creature. They thought that sinus cavity was actually its eye.
And that's fair. You know, they don't absolutely know everything.
Well, I'm just saying, they did their best, but they didn't have any sort of scientific method, really, to test these assumptions out. So they just made these assumptions based on what they saw.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys hear that, apparently scientists were trying to bring back mammoths?
Yes. It was on an episode of Expedition Unknown with my hero, Josh Cates.
Man crush.
Yes, whatever. He was there trying to find mammoth bits so that they could scan them for DNA.
No, I learned that on CNN 10 because they used to play it at my old school every morning. Because apparently we needed to know that.
Well, they're trying to combine the genes they have of mammoths with Indian elephants, which they say are the closest thing we have to mammoths. So what they create wouldn't actually be a mammoth. It would be mammoth-like, but it wouldn't be a true mammoth.
Which I see as good because you don't really want those things tromping around. The only thing that's going to happen is death to the woolly mammoth once again. because people want to hunt those down and sell them for $1 million.
People want to hunt a lot of stuff down and sell it. Black rhinos are on that list. Tigers are on that list.
Which I find absolutely.
Me too. I would much rather have a world full of animals than a world full of rich poachers. So that's where I am there.
The rich poachers are literally just people trying to get a bunch of money and be selfish. So, no.
So, is that your fact?
That was a sixth fact. I even did extra.
Wow.
I'm a good kid.
Yes, you are. So do I at this point, but that's just because I have a cat sitting on my chest.
No, I don't have a cat sitting on my chest, so I don't know why I have fur all over me.
Bunny.
Oh.
My grand bunny.
Yeah.
She's kind of sloppy with her fur, but, she's like, this is what you get for leaving my cage dirty. Take my fur all over you. Also, it may be like a you're my person thing, because I don't know if rabbits do that. They might.
Yeah, sometimes they do that. They pee on you because they, you're their person. They don't do that.
I was kind of teasing, but okay. Well, those were some great facts, Krysta. I like it when I learn things from you. So let's talk about our next saint, Saint Valentine, in Italian Saint Valentino, in Latin Valentinius. He was a Roman priest or bishop, we're not sure which, in the 3rd century Common Era, who is the patron saint of courtly love, as well as the patron saint of the city of Terni, Italy, as well as the patron saint of epileptics and beekeepers. How do you get courtly love, epileptics, and beekeepers? I have no idea.
We have no clue.
Wow. That's quite the variety.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
I feel like that should be like a topic in Jeopardy or Trivial Pursuit or something.
Saints? Yeah. Yeah. Well, now, his day is celebrated on February 14th in Western Christianity and July 6th in Eastern Orthodoxy.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't quite get the difference, but his skull is kept appropriately crowned with flowers at the Basilica of Santa Maria. The Basilica of Santa Maria in Cosmedin, Italy.
Okay.
Cosmedin, Italy. Some stories about Saint Valentine include a judge who was interrogating him after he was arrested for preaching about Christ, because you got to remember that back in the day, that wasn't okay. Anyway, so he got arrested. Well, the judge takes him back to his house and says, well, there's my blind daughter. If Christ is such a big deal, heal her sight. And if you do that, I'll let you go. So Saint Valentine puts his hands on her and says a prayer, and sure enough, she can see. Mm. And so the judge lets him go, and lets all the other Christians he's arrested or he's judged go, because he's the judge. So he lets them all go. Well, later, because you can't keep a good man down, Saint Valentine is preaching again, and he gets arrested again. But this time they take him to Claudius, the emperor of Rome. And Claudius really likes him until St. Valentine goes, hey, you should convert to Christianity. And then Claudius is like, no, that won't happen. But if you don't renounce Jesus, I'm going to kill you. And of course he didn't, and that's how he died. And then So, yeah, and this was Claudius II, for those who keep trying to know that there were more than one Claudius in Rome. This was Claudius II that killed him. So, yeah. Long story short, basically, that's the story of Saint Valentine, who brought sight to a girl who was blind, and we think might have performed marriages, because under Roman law, Christians couldn't wed. And so they think Valentinius might have, that's how he became into courtly love, was he performed marriages for Christians. But there's no story for it. There's no evidence of it. It's just what they believe. Also, Valentine may have been two people, because Rome claims Valentine as well as the city of Tournai. But if you read their stories, very similar, like extremely similar. So that's Saint Valentine.
Cool.
So when you're buying flowers or Percy for your honey, remember you're celebrating a saint that basically told the Emperor of Rome to convert. And when the Emperor of Rome said, no, he went, no, kill me. And the Emperor of Rome did. So that's the story. Not sure how that works out into hearts and flowers and candy, but...
Well, probably not that one particularly. That's just the one he's not, just because he's Saint Valentine doesn't mean that's why we use that goes a little more to the next guy you're going to talk about, I think.
Yep. Because I promised we'd get into Cupid.
That's right.
Now,
Cupid!
He's known as Eros in Greek, which, if you're a fan of the TV show Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, but if you're a fan of that show,
I liked Captain Sorbo. I liked that show. But anyway, it wasn't for everybody.
If Kevin Sorbo fell down and smashed his face on the concrete, would anybody care? No. Anyway, so the point is that there was an episode where somehow Hercules wound up in another dimension where Eros was the god of war and Ares was the god of love. And it was actually kind of funny. Anyway, but Cupid was known as the god of desire, the god of erotic love. None of that courtly stuff for Cupid. He wanted to get down. He wanted people to get down. He's also the god of attraction and affection. He is often portrayed as the son of Venus and Mars, the goddess of love and the god of war. If in Greek, they're known as Aphrodite and Ares. So, so he's their child. He was gifted a bow by his father, the god of war, but its deadliness was blunted by his mother, the goddess of love.
Yeah, because if you're the goddess of love, that's what you do.
And so it soon became that anyone struck by one of his arrows, even one of the gods themselves, suffered immediate, unrelenting desire for the first person they saw.
Mm. Oh, which may or may not be suffering, depending on who you're looking at.
He once was struck by one of his own arrows, which led to him falling in love and being tortured by love. He fell in love with a character named Psyche, or Psyche, Psyche, not the character from the New Mutants. Not Danny Moonstar. But yeah, now since then, the Catholic Church adopted this character, and that's when he became a cherub, one of those chubby angels with the wings, and they gave him a cute little bow, and he was not the character he had been, because I see Cupid as just like really wedged between mom and dad, just like dad like, here's a bow, and mom's like, no, you shall give people love. What a waste of my bow, Mom.
Depends on how you look at it, dear.
And so, anyway, it was the Catholics who brought him into the modern era. And then as Valentine's Day became the day of love, Cupid was used more and more often to represent that love.
Right.
And so you get the modern idea of Cupid shooting people with his arrows, and anybody he shoots falls in love.
Exactly.
So we have gone to, like, we've covered where Valentine's came from before in an earlier episode, but now we've covered its greatest characters. So now we're going to get a little weird. We're going to talk about some people that loved it too much, if not too well. And so let me start by...
Should we take a minute for sponsors, or do we have to go a while for that yet?
Yeah, let me see. Where did I put it? Because I put it... You know what? We can take it. Doesn't matter. Yeah. I have it down a ways, but we can do it here. We can give this a nice split. So let's take a moment for a word from our sponsors.
Hey, honey.
Yes, dear.
I feel sponsored.
Yay! So let's talk some of these ghosts. The first one we're going to talk about is in Massachusetts at Longfellow's Wayside Inn. Jerusha Howe still resides in the inn that she lived and worked in way back in the 1700s. She met a British man whom she fell in love with and swore to return and marry her. She waited 44 years until her death, only for her English lover to never return. She is reported as an apparition in the inn, still waiting for the return of her beloved.
Girl, give it up. He ain't coming back.
Girl. You need a new lover.
Or, shall I talk about the governor's mansion?
You should. However, I want to say before you do that, I'm not sure where this story takes place. It was not mentioned in the material I found. And so I went looking for governor's mansions that fit the bill, and I couldn't find one that absolutely fit this bill. So I'm not sure which governor's mansion.
Not sure which governor's mansion it was, but there is a story of the governor's mansion that in 1864, a 19-year-old boy, and trigger warning, it is never acceptable to take your own life. This is what it seems that this story is about. However, in 1864, in this tale, a 19-year-old boy shot himself in the head in a bedroom of the governor's mansion. The woman he loved had refused his hand in marriage. For years, no one would sleep in the room because of the unexplainable banging sound, and the room was sealed off sometime after the Civil War. However, in 1925, the boy's bedroom was opened up again, and people still reported hearing muffled sobs coming from the room.
Hey, we need to get him together with the girl from Massachusetts, is what I'm thinking.
Absolutely.
That would help both of them.
Yep.
Have one ghost love another.
Tim, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's never...
Yeah, and the thing is, the girl is the stronger one there. She waited 44 years, yep, died of natural causes. That's some devotion for you.
That's right, sticking power right there.
So let's go to Arkansas, Henderson State University. A young boy from what was once a Methodist college fell in love with a girl from the nearby Baptist University. Friends convinced the boy to stop seeing the girl he loved because of their different religions, which is so weird to me. I don't get why people can't get over that.
If you actually loved each other, you wouldn't. If you actually loved each other, you wouldn't care about what each other's doing.
And so he asked someone else to the homecoming dance. When his love found out he was taking someone else, she was so distraught that she, and again, trigger warning here, where she committed suicide. And again, permanent solution to a temporary problem. The only people that should consider suicide are pedophiles. I'm just saying. Anyway, other than that, no one should. So now, students still see her today. They call her the Black Lady. And every year during homecoming, she wanders the halls of the women's dorms at Henderson State University, looking for the girl who stole her love from her.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah. Now this next one sounds really familiar to me. Probably because I lived kind of in this area for so long. So in California, in the Santa Clara house, a young married woman had an affair with a traveling salesman from San Francisco. When she found out she was pregnant with his child, she hung herself in her attic. I am so glad that, for the most part, we've done away with that stigma. Why? It just, oh my goodness. The former Victorian home is now a restaurant, and customers have seen her wandering the upstairs ladies' bathroom and staring out the window, waiting for her lover to come back. I can't.
So, let's go to Virginia, Chatham Manor. Now, this isn't Lady Chatterley, this is Chatham. The lady in white is said to wander along a path leading to the Rappahannock River, searching for her soulmate. Her father, an Englishman, brought her to the Chatham house in a desperate attempt to destroy her romance with a commoner. Her lover followed her to America, and the two planned to run away together. Their plans were discovered, the boy arrested, and the girl quickly taken back to England. The girl vowed to return to Chatham Manor to find the boy she loved. She was first seen wandering the path on June 21st, 1790, the day she died, and is rumored to return every 7 years on the anniversary of her death.
Aww, that one's very sad.
I mean, the only thing I can say is at least she stayed strong and didn't try.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm with you there. So, dear, you want to take us to Vermont?
Absolutely, we'll go to Vermont. So in Vermont, the Goldbrook Bridge legend has it that a girl named Emily was in love with a boy her parents didn't approve of. They arranged to meet at the Goldbrook Bridge to run away together. Oh my goodness gracious. When he didn't show up, she took the rope that she had used to tie her sack of belongings together and hung herself from the bridge. Wow, this is a really terrible suicide episode. We're going to have to put the suicide hotline number on this episode.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, I included most of these, though, just so that I don't care how much you love somebody.
Yeah, no, that's, like I said,
Listen,
it's a
okay.
temporary
Here's what I'm going to say to
problem that
this.
you're throwing a permanent solution. And that's the only good thing that I can say about these stories is these are hauntings that people still see hundreds of years later. So you committed suicide to stop something that was so miserable to you. And
yet now you are reliving
at
what you
the
did
very
before.
least, that spirit of what you did is replaying over and over again. If it's not your exact spirit, even the intentions behind it that are causing people to still see these things, and putting that into play, it just seems like it just goes to reinforce that it doesn't make it better to end your life. That's not going to fix the issue. The only way you can fix that issue is to still be here and keep fighting and trying to make things different.
And see, here's what I'm going to say about this is, if they didn't come to you when you both decided that you were going to see each other again, they're not worth your time.
Exactly.
You should not.
That's because you're a smart girl. You've got a good head on your shoulders.
Well, yeah, but she also doesn't want to end up like the last girl did, being only ever heard screaming, or you hear banging, footsteps, and ropes tightening. That's not good.
Yeah, that would be a terrible way to spend the rest of eternity for sure.
So I'm going to take us to Florida. I apologize. The Casablanca Inn. A widowed innkeeper fell in love with a rum runner during Prohibition, who made his living smuggling alcohol to the U.S. on his boat. The innkeeper would keep watch on her roof, signaling with a lantern if it was not safe to come in from the sea. On a stormy night, she saw federal agents patrolling and waved her lantern to warn her lover. She never saw him again. People still report seeing a woman standing on the roof, waving a light back and forth. Now, notice, she never saw her lover again. She didn't commit suicide.
Exactly. Absolutely. So, staying in Florida, we can talk about the Don Cesar Hotel, where Thomas Rowe was studying. When Thomas Rowe was studying in Europe, he fell in love with a woman named Lucinda. Lucinda's parents didn't approve of their relationship and forbid them to see each other. Rowe eventually returned to America and one day received a letter from Lucinda. On her deathbed, she had written, "Time is infinite. I wait for you by our fountain to share our timeless love. Our destiny is kind." When Rowe built the Don Cesar Hotel, he included a replica of their fountain. The lovers have been spotted holding hands and strolling by on many occasions.
Don't look at me, I might cry.
I love that story so much. That is so beautiful.
And nobody committed suicide.
Absolutely even better.
They had a afterlife together.
Yeah. I like that story a lot.
I'm gonna cry.
So I'll read the last one and take us to Georgia, the 1790 Inn and Restaurant. A servant girl named Anna fell in love with a sailor while working at the inn. Those darn sailors. When he left, she couldn't stand the sight of his ship disappearing down the Savannah River and threw herself into the brick courtyard.
And again.
Guests have spotted the broken-hearted Anna rocking in chairs, opening windows, and walking up and down the stairs, waiting for her sailor to return. See? Okay, I don't like to make a point like this, but I have to. She is waiting forever for her love to return from sea. Thomas Rowe and Lucinda are hanging out by their fountain.
Exactly.
No killing themselves, killing themselves.
That's right. I agree.
So, yeah. So, let's wrap this episode up. My final thoughts are this. One, suicide is never an answer. I don't care what the problem is. Suicide isn't your answer.
Reach out for help.
Yes. Honestly, there is someone who can help you somewhere. Just look for them. Find them. Whatever the problem is, it can be addressed.
Yep.
So I'm going to start there. After that, I'm going to say that I love you very much.
I love you very much.
You're my favorite Valentine I've ever had.
Gosh, I hope so.
And there's not a day that goes by that I don't thank the stars for you. I love you too, Krysta. You are an amazing daughter, as are all my kids. And
well, except for the sons. They're amazing sons. But I digress.
But I love you very much, and I hope that you will have a good Valentine's Day as well.
Yeah, I'll send the message to Dave.
And then I will say this. I don't know how true any of these stories are, but I will say that the one that touched me most is Thomas Rowe and Lucinda at the Don Cesar Hotel. Just because I like the idea of a couple that was prevented from being together in life, reuniting after death.
I like that.
So those are my final thoughts, hun. You got anything you'd like to add?
Life is short enough as it is. Even if you don't have that love connection, love others. We may not always all find our other half, but the world can run on a lot of different kinds of love.
Exactly. Krysta?
I'm going to say this right here, right now. I'm going to restate what I said before. If nobody loves you, that doesn't mean you can't love yourself. And I promise you, even though it may seem sometimes like nobody loves me, nobody cares about me, there is always at least one in this country. And will talk to you, and will be there for you. Heck, we're here for you. We are called Family Plot because we are
A family, and that's what I want of our listeners, is they're part of the family too.
Absolutely.
They are part of the family, and they are welcome to talk when they need to. When our listeners feel bad for just being alive, this is what when I want to remind them that they are more than they seem. And they are amazing people. Just
Exactly. So, thanks for listening, as always. Thanks for sharing love in a world that needs it. Thanks to Bill Barrett. He does our theme music. If you need music for a project, Bill is your guy. You can reach him at Bill Barrett, and that last name is spelled BEHRENDT, at sbcglobal.net. He will take care of you. Very reasonable prices. Great guy. Also, thanks to Paige Elmore, who did some of our logo art along with our Krysta here.
hey,
Thank you,
Paige.
All right. And thanks to Aaron Gnerk of the Big Dumb Fun Show, who supports us locally. Happy Valentine's Day, and join us next week. And I'll preface this with yet another trigger warning, because we will be talking suicide at least somewhat when we investigate the Aokigahara Forest in Japan.
Oh boy. Bye.
Bye.